Hi, guys. Eli, that's disturbing. You have to save that for Jaden. She'll appreciate that. I wonder where everybody is today. I'm gonna wait about one more minute and then we'll get started, guys. We are gonna, you might need a calculator today, depending on how strong you are with your basic math skills. You might need a calculator today, so if you wanna grab that or grab your phone if you're gonna use your calculator there. All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and get started and we'll see who jumps in with us. Maybe no one, I don't know. All right. So today we're gonna do something called, hold on, I can't get this stuff to go away. There it goes. Okay, we're gonna do something called cross math boxes, or sometimes it's just called cross math. Okay, it's kind of like the idea of Sudoku or that 9 find, in that we're only using the numbers 1 through 9, and we're only gonna use them one time. Okay, so it says each box must contain all the digits 1 through 9. Okay, so we're only going to use, oh goodness gracious, we're only going to use the numbers 1 through 9. So I'm going to list them up here because we're going to cross them off as we go. Okay, and we have to use them strategically so that each row adds up to what's indicated or each column adds up to what's indicated. It's typically easier, well, first of all, we need to cross off the numbers that we're given. We were given a 3, a 4, and a 9. So I'm gonna cross those off. We can't use those anymore. Okay, so those are used up. Okay, so if you can find a row or a column that has 2 digits, it's easier to first focus on that row or column. So in our case here, we have this, right? We have this row, my nice straight line there. So let's start there. So right now we have 3 minus 4 is a -1. But -1 plus what will give us 4? So -1 plus what will give us 4? Okay, so I can solve an equation that way. I could add 1 and I could get x equals 5, right? So this has to equal 5. So let's make sure it makes sense. It's 3 minus 4 is -1. -1 plus 5 is 4. All right, so we use the number 5. So I'm going to go ahead and eliminate that one. Now I have this row that has 2 numbers in it. I want to try to find the third. So I'm going to take 9 times some number plus 5 to equal 23. Again, we could do an equation. We could have 9 times some number, some x, plus 5 equals 23. And we could then solve for x. We can subtract 5 from both sides. We'd have 9x. 9x equals 18. And then we can divide both sides by 9 and we get x equals 2. All right, so again, we can stop, doesn't make sense. 9 times 2 is 18. 18 plus 5 is 23. So that's good. That works out. So now we have our 2. All right, so now looking at the numbers that we have left, unfortunately, I don't have anything with 2 in it so far, right? With 2 numbers in either a row or a column. I'm going to now kind of look at the smaller numbers here. Okay, like 9 is a smaller number. That I could probably figure out a little bit more in my head, knowing that I can only use 1, 6, 7, and 8. All right, so something, I have to multiply 2 numbers together, then add 2, and I get 9. Right? So I know these 2 boxes together, that's going to have to be 7, right? Because 7 plus 2 is 9. So I need to look at my numbers up here. What multiplies to be 7? Well, it's going to be 1 and 7. It's our only option. But now this is where it's a little bit of guess and a little bit of logic. I got to figure out where the 1 is going to go and where's the 7 going to go. So if I look up here, if I put a 7 here, then I need to take something times 7 and add 3, and it only gives me 11. That number is pretty big, and I'm already going to be using up the 1. So I can't put a 1 up there, and plus 1 times 7 is 7, plus 3 is 10 more. All right, so that probably tells me that maybe this is going to be the 1 and this is going to be the 7. So let's double check our row. 1 times 7 is 7, plus 2 more is 9. All right, so there's my 7 and my 1. And I have a 6 and an 8 left. Okay, I have a 6 and an 8 left. So something times 1 plus 3 gives me 11. So something times 1, that's 1 times something, right? Plus 3 gives me 11. So I can subtract 3 from both sides and I get 8. X equals 8, which is one of our numbers that's left. All right, so 8 times 1 is 8, plus 3 more is 11. Now I can make a guess here, this is going to be 6, right? Because it's the last number we have left, but we can verify it. Okay, so following your order of operations, remember that means we have, if I look at this column, I've got to do the multiplication first. So 7 times 4 is 28. 28 plus 6 is 34. Here I can do 8 times 6 is 48, minus 9, and yep, that is 39. So there's our puzzle. There's our puzzle solved. All right, so again, you can only use the numbers 1 through 9 one time. We have to cross out what we start with. All right, so let's take a look at another example. All right, I'm going to go ahead and write all my numbers up top. I think it helps us sometimes focus our thinking. So we have a 5, 6, and a 1 already used up. Okay, so a 5, 6, and 1 we have used up. Now the bad thing is here, we don't have any 2 things in one row, right? So we're going to have to be a little bit clever about this. For instance, if I take 5 times something and I want to subtract a number, then it has to equal 17. Okay, so I can't do 5 times 2 because that's only 10. I can't subtract. 5 times 3 is only 15. 5 times 4 is 20. Maybe, right? Because that's 20. Then I can subtract 3 to get 17. So that's a possibility, right? 5 times 4 is 20. Subtract 3, you get 17. So let's see if that works for us. All right, so now we have some options here in terms of we have multiple numbers now. So let's look at this row right, or this column right here. We have 3 times some number, which we don't know, plus 1 is going to equal 22. So algebraically, maybe you can see this in your head. Some people can't, so that's why I'm showing you the algebra. We have 3x equals 21. Divide by 3, we get x equals 7. We haven't used the 7 yet, so let's go ahead and use that here. All right, now we could do this column. We know 6 times 4 is 24. So 24 plus some number is going to give us 33. So if I subtract 24 from both sides, that gives me 9. We could try that. We could try that. All right, so now we look across the bottom. 3 numbers have to add together to be 18. Right, 9 plus 1 is 10. So we have x plus 10 has to equal 18. If I subtract 10, I get 8. Okay, we haven't used our 8 yet, so we could try that. Then we can either work up and down or we can work left and right. But here I have to take something times 8 and add 5. Well, the only number we have left is 2, so let's try it. 8 times 2, remember your order of operations we have to look at. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 5 more is 21, so that worked. And then we can check sideways. So 6 times 2 is 12, minus 7 gives me 5. All right, so I suggest when you do these, maybe make yourself a list like this in order to kind of keep track of what you use and what you haven't used. All right, if you can see logically how it's going to play out, like you don't need to write out the equations, then don't. But if you're having a hard time thinking about it, make an equation of it, especially if you only have one box missing. Questions on that? Nothing? All right. Are you okay, Kevin?
Oh yeah. Why?
Oh, just asking. Okay. So in Google Classroom, I have a Google Sheet for you with a couple of these problems. I want to warn you though, hold on one second, let me pull it up. Oh, let me find out where it is. Hold on one second. Hold on, I screwed up the date on the post. Give me a second. Sorry, guys. All right, it should be there now, I believe. You may need to refresh your screen. All right, so this is what it's going to look like. All right, so here's your cross math. So we tried to gray out the ones you don't need to fill in. Okay, so you're going to be filling in the blue boxes. Okay, so you're only filling in the blue boxes. And I think only the first problem is going to change colors for you. You have 5 problems there, okay? Only the first one is going to change colors in terms of like if you're right or wrong. Because I didn't want you to just go in and put numbers and figure out if it was right or wrong. Okay? Any questions about what you're going to do today?
Yep.
Okay, you're welcome to go as long as you're working. This assignment is due at the beginning of class tomorrow, okay?